Hello again. When the American Vice President spoke yesterday about mass immigration to Europe and said that it was the result of conscious decisions by political leaders, this was taken by some to be a reference to the theory of the Great Replacement. The phrase the Great Replacement is so familiar today that it's difficult to believe that it's only been around for 14 years. Renaud Camus, the man who popularised the term, says that his two great influences were British politician Enoch Powell and a book called Camp of the Saints. Camp of the Saints is a novel describing a dystopian future, one where Europe is swamped by a deluge of immigrants from the Third World. The Great Replacement is predicated on the idea that the white Christian population of Europe is being systematically and deliberately diluted with immigrants from Africa and Asia, and that the ultimate aim is to replace the population of Europe with people from the other two continents. There are many variations to this theme, but this is essentially the contention. I think it fair to say that the Great Replacement is generally dismissed as a conspiracy theory, that is to say, some mad idea which circulates among members of the far right. I might mention too that in many variations of this supposed plan, Jews play a major part, and the narrative segues seamlessly into the protocols of the Elders of Zion, with names like Barbara Lerner Spectre being bandied about. Why then is this idea so popular in some political circles in Europe? The answer is, of course, that strange things have happened since the turn of the century, and since these affect most large cities in Western Europe and increasingly smaller towns, under whichever political parties happen to be in power, either of the left or right, then it's certainly possible to interpret some of what's seen as part of a coordinated plan. Not so very long ago, cities like London, Amsterdam and Brussels were almost entirely populated by white British people, white Dutch people and white Belgians. These people had broadly similar ethnic and religious backgrounds in that they were white Christians. Today, white people make up only a third of the population of London. 40% of people living in London are foreigners who were born abroad. In the Netherlands, 56% of those living in Amsterdam are foreign-born. In The Hague, it's 58%, and in Rotterdam, the figure is 60%. In the Belgian capital of Brussels, no fewer than 70% of the population are immigrants from Africa and Asia. Now, I could go on reeling off figures, but the fact is, most people now notice all this for themselves. In England, it's no longer merely the largest cities where this may be seen, but increasingly it's small towns and even villages. Something is happening all over Europe, and until a credible alternative explanation is produced, then it is inevitable that some people will conclude that all this is happening by design rather than chance, just as D Vance said yesterday at Munich.